All right, greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. Yeah, just who knows? Wild, wacky stuff. Power went out. I think for some scheduled maintenance, but they didn't give us a heads up, so that's kind of not cool. Um, right? They did lots of communication. The power company after the power was turned off, they give you a call and they're like, "Hey, you lost your power." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." and then they give you a call and let you know, like, maybe when it'll be back on, or after it goes back on, they'll tell you that it's back on. But it's like, could you tell me if this is a scheduled thing? Could you tell me when it's going to happen prior so that I can plan my day, or uh, you know, plan accordingly or whatever? So it's annoying. But it wasn't too long and it wasn't earth shattering. So whatever. But here we are, kind of screwed up the timing of the day. And that's always frustrating. But we'll see. Anyways, it's Friday. And, we usually just do a little more of a relaxed thing on Friday. So we'll just talk about this and that. Although it always helps to have more chatters around to do a little relaxed Friday thing. And we're live on Call-In. You can also call in. So if you're on the Call-In app, just find Black Bear News. I'm on the Call-In app, and you can call into the show. Today is a great day to call in. We'll see if anybody gets the heads up about the show. I don't know. Who knows? I am asking for too much logic, Poppy Davis, yes. I'm just asking for give me a call, maybe the morning or the night before it's going to happen, and say, hey, your power is going to go out tomorrow at 11. Deal with it. I'll be like, all right, great. Good to know. I'll plan my day around it. But it's always fun when the power just zaps out. Oh my God, I really hate when I do stuff like this. Anyways, I was kind of itching to start the show because I'm also itching to do other things with my day. And I didn't quite organize myself as well as I wanted to be organized, and that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. But anyways, welcome all. Drag Guy says you bought $1 billion lottery ticket. Did the lottery ticket cost $1 billion, or are you going to get $1 billion if you win? Just curious. All right. Well, we're all here. We're hanging out. We'll talk about a couple of things, and then we'll do it again tomorrow. Kind of what we do every day, right? No. Okay. And then this is the the other thing that the power company did the other day when the power went out was they called me like 8 times to tell me the power was back on. I was like, yeah, thanks. I was like, got it the first time, and I could see that the power is back on. Thanks for calling me 8 times to let me know the power's back on. You guys are on top of it. Okay. All right, I'm going to stop. Powerball. Yeah, Powerball. Powerball. Somebody's trying to call in, but I don't trust you, Shane. Shane, I'll take your call in a couple minutes. I'm joking. Shane dropped out. All right. I mean, that's cool. If you wanna call in, that's fine. Sorry, I was actually joking. But let me yeah, what do you have to say, Shane? What are you talking about? All right. Screw it. We'll take a call. How you doing, Shane?
How are you getting on?
Where you at? Oh, hold on, guys. Hold on. All right. What's up, Shane?
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound like you have a plane flying over your head.
It's probably because I have a plane flying over my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Are you right underneath
unfortunately,
are you run where are you at?
I live beside an airport.
Okay.
I live beside an airport. So yeah, I'm just chilling on my balcony having a smoke. Thought I'd call in.
Okay. Yeah, how's it going? What's on your mind?
All good, all good. So I caught the end of your opener there. You had a blackout
Yeah. Apparently it
for
was
long?
not too long, a couple hours. It was for maintenance.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering if they actually started. I heard a few places like it's just been threatened so much. I was wondering like how long you've been kind of down for and how long you're back for.
Yeah, no, it happened a couple of times this week. Happened a couple of times, and so it's pretty annoying because it just went down. They didn't give us any heads up.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, it is maintenance all around. But whereabouts are you based?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, cool.
Yeah.
The whole city, kind of a good part of the city went down.
Say that again.
Electricity in a good section of the city go down, or just a small?
No, it was like a scheduled
area.
It was just a maintenance thing, and so they have a website you can look it up and see.
Yeah, fair.
The power's out, and then they tell you like, oh, we're doing maintenance in this area. So it was like a very local.
Fair.
Yeah. But anyways, I was supposed to do my show.
With you tonight?
Say that again.
Yeah. Well, what's the plan? What are you planning on talking about? What's the discussion for tonight?
I talk about all kinds of things, but let's see. I go from like climate change to like conspiracy theories. So
yeah,
not necessarily, and also not conspiracy. I'm jokingly say conspiracy theories, but what I mean is conspiracy fact, right? Like, the reality, real news as opposed to the fake news.
I mean, there's a lot of conspiracies that happen as matter of fact. And like when there's big money involved, there's a lot of conspiracies to make more money. That's how groups of people make more money, really. It's conspiracies. Right. They get together, they decide on what angle they're going to, or way they're going to play whatever plays they're going to play, and they do that. And then it plays out and they win. And that's a conspiracy,
right? But that
because
people
they're not letting other people in on their plan. It's their own personal plan to make more money, and why should they let anybody else in it if it's making them more money?
Sure.
So I mean, and there's a lot of that. I suppose the climate change angle on it. I mean, I've got.
Hold on.
I work in that industry.
Yeah.
I'm a building energy assessor, so I assess buildings and their energy consumption for a living, like civil engineer and stuff like that. So I don't know. I understand a bit of that,
Well, so tell me what do you assess for efficiencies, or do what are they,
energy efficiencies of buildings, commercial and residential. So I look at everything from the building fabrics. What you literally do, I'll explain it to you real quick. What I do is I enter into a piece of software. I work out how much I enter in the skin of the building. So I describe the walls, the date of construction, the amount of insulation on them, if any, added from the date of construction. It's all said to be done from the building regulations that were present at the time, which wasn't anything up to about the 80s anyway. That there was no building regulations at all.
Sure.
And then you describe the skin of the building. So you say there's this roof with this much insulation, these walls with this type of construction, the amount of insulation, this floor, this type of floor, whatever. And then you have this, and then you say this amount of windows, this amount of glazing, these orientations, and then you describe that in the software. And then you've got the shell, you've got the skin of the building entered into the software. And then you say there's this heat system, these controls, this water system, this volume tank, these controls. You say this type of ventilation, this type of lighting. Right. And usually you hit calculate and the software throws it all together and says A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like a test.
Got it.
And buildings get a grade from A to G.
Got it.
So that's my job pretty much.
Okay.
You know?
That's interesting. What are your thoughts on what are your thoughts on climate change in general?
Um, I don't know. I mean, the jury's still out on a lot of it. I mean, it's the way that we're being pushed. That's the next, like, how would I put it? I have an underlining feeling that most implementations of climate hysteria in the media and all the rest, and the actions by the government is just. I do think it's more going to end up leaning on which is nearly already done, is the marketization of carbon credits,
Yeah.
such
Sure.
on a bond market type thing.
Right.
Carbon credits scam, international, like it's like crypto.
Mm.
It's kind of like carbon credits. It's going to be a whole new commodity that's going to be put and shifted and sold, and it's going to be linked up with a social credit system, etc., etc. And I think we're looking into a dark future in the way that the governments are tackling it, because they're not tackling it in a way that, like, in the end of the day, most of the solutions hurt the little guy and leave the big guy to do the massive amount of pollution. Like,
right.
And like,
sorry, Jesus, sorry, bro. You still there, bro?
there's loads of examples.
Yeah. Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit. You still there?
Come on, I was just saying I'm here. I was just about to say, when the individual goes against the corporation, it's an uneven battle, because the difference is that, like, when the corporation trespasses, they get a fine, and it's a faceless crime, and nobody gets put in prison. But if the individual trespasses on the corporation's land, they get put in prison.
Right.
It's an unfair fight. Hiding behind limited companies, things. There's some very interesting, like, exchanges, like, from the Shell oil companies in the west of Ireland, and how our government are giving most of our oil away and all the rest, and how when people tried to protest that, and how they illegally, like, surveyed a lot of people's lands, and a lot of people were against it, and all the fishermen's, like, fishing areas was destroyed and all. They didn't care. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they just they ran roughshod, and the police were running as a pretty much a personal security for the corporation.
Of course.
Locking up all the local people and the local fishermen, and confiscating their boats, and then, like, anybody who trespassed on their land while they were doing it, and they'd get put in prison. And, like, these local communities were deeply affected by this stuff, like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And whereas when the corporation trespassed on their land, there was an X amount of dollar fine to a faceless thing, and the people who trespassed weren't prosecuted, like, they were just employees. So, like, it's an unfair fight, and, like, when I always think it's always to get the little guy. The little guy is the guy who pays.
Yeah, they're gonna. I mean, unfortunately, the answers that they're providing for climate change are mostly going to hurt the environment, if anything.
I mean,
it's all about control, right? It's all about controlling people while everything.
Some very good concrete examples of crazy legislation here in Ireland. They banned. One of the local oldest forms of fuel in Ireland is turf, peat, and we cut it from the bogs. But they banned the sale and cutting of the bogs, and they shut down the national peat energy and like harvesting and manufacturing factory, or Borden Amona company that looked after all of Ireland's bogs and cut briquettes and turf for the country that everybody uses. But they shut that down just last year, and they've banned the sale of it.
Yeah.
And that's coming into an energy crisis. We've just banned the most abundant, natural, usable source of fuel that Ireland's had for centuries, And not only that, when they did that, then they started importing all the peat from Latvia. So, like, somewhere in Latvia, they had to cut a bog. A lot of trucks had to pick this heavy material up, bring it to a ship, sail the whole way to Ireland. A lot of trucks from Ireland had to go collect it and then distribute it across Ireland, because we didn't want to use our carbon credits. And this is all environment, You know what I mean? There's a concrete example of the lunacy.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
diesel chucking trucks, the ships, and it's 90% moisture. You know what I mean? And then like all the garden centres started running out of like peat moss to grow vegetables and all the rest, and at a fertilizer crisis during the whole Russia thing as well.
Yep.
Like fucking, it's endless. And then like they're like trying to cut like the national herd, like Ireland with the natural grass, trying to cut our national beef herd at a food crisis time, like you know what I mean, in Ireland, and like our national herd's lower than it was in the 80s, and they're still trying to cut it because they think the methane is going to ruin everything. And what's going to happen instead? We're going to buy our beef from Brazil, where they're going to cut down the Amazon, graze it unsustainably, destroy the land, stick it on trucks and ships, and bring it the whole way over to Ireland, and we'll have an inferior product. And thumbs up for the green thumb, like you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're running it down pretty succinctly there, Shane.
And these are legislations, and this is the carry on that we're getting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These are the type of like solutions governments are coming up with for climate change, and people are suffering because of this. Like farmers are suffering because their herds being cut. People are suffering because there's going to be like blackouts in the future. The price of fuel's going absolutely mad, and people are going back to coal. And the greatest reduction of CO2, ironically, was natural gas rather than coal-fired plants. And what they're doing is banning gas everywhere. I just don't even know. There's nothing. It makes me so angry and frustrated. I find it very hard to talk about it, but I thought I'd give you a shout.
I feel you. Well, thank you, Shane. I actually got I have another caller waiting in the queue here, but
cool, man.
I want to thank you for the call though. That
You're
absolutely right. Like the things they're doing don't make a lot of sense, and they're really not. They really don't care about the climate, right? This is just an excuse to, move things around, move money around, and hurt, and then eventually hurt people, which is exactly what you're trying to say. But thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it.
Go on, look, I'll bounce. I'll catch you in a bit. See you now.
All right. All right, cool. That was a good call. And we got another caller, Christian. How you doing? Christian, how you doing? You waited a long time, very patiently. Thank you. Are you still there? Yeah, I think you got to unmute yourself. Christian, if you'd like to talk, let me know. Or maybe you got in the queue and you're away from the phone. I don't know. Jesus, phone. I can't get my phone to stop making noises. Hey, Christian, how you doing? All right, well, Christian doesn't seem to be responding, so we will remove Christian from the queue. And Christian, if you want to call back in, just, you know what to do. Anyways, that was a good call from Shane. That was yeah. What can I say? I can't really add much to that, but that's really, first of all, if we were going to take care about the planet, you would extend that compassion to everyone. You wouldn't take a tack that would hurt people. You wouldn't implement things that would starve people or hurt people. You wouldn't do that in the name of helping the planet. I know some people might think, well, tough luck, humans. You've had your fun and you've had a good time, and so. But I still, if we're really going to do real things about, helping the environment and saving the planet, and or at least being kinder to each other at the end, and being kinder to the planet at the end, you just wouldn't be starving people. You wouldn't be cutting people off from food, or just cutting people off from some level of existence in life right from the get-go. It's just that's how you can tell it's not authentic It's an inauthentic answer to climate change because these things are just, like government policies without care for the damage that they cause. And so um, I just don't believe it. Gene says, but they will, right? Yeah. And it's unfortunate because it's just going to make people hate. It's unfortunate because the blowback is that it's going to make people hate the subject of climate change. It's going to make it's already driving people away from actually understanding climate change or accepting that it's happening. Right? Already people are like, fuck climate change and fuck these climate changers and F Greta Thunberg and screw Extinction Rebellion and screw all these people and screw all these greenies, and like people hate the climate change awareness sector because they link it with all these like crazy policies that don't make any sense. But I guess it'll be fun trading like crypto carbon credits for a little while right before before the very end. I don't know, whatever. That was a good call. Anyways, we're just talking about this and that today, so feel free to call in if you have something on your mind. But we'll go to this from Poppy Davis. Yeah, Gene says the Horn of Africa, the animals, all types are dying from drought. Yeah, the drought is quite severe. Drought is everywhere. It's severe in Africa. It's severe in the United States. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I would have let Shane continue. I thought we had another caller and they were waiting for Shane to, or they were waiting to get on patiently, but then I went to the other caller and anyways. This from Poppy Davis. UN says we're powerless to stop this loss. Under every climate model assessed, a full 1/3 of glaciers in UNESCO World Heritage Sites melt away by 2050. I'm going to guess that's probably conservative. Imperiling water sources, low-lying regions, and cultural practices globally. The thing to actually realize, if you understand the climate change is the thing that's happening to us right now, is that this is actually happening right now, right? They keep on putting these articles out saying, well, better watch out because in the future things are going to get really bad. But if you even understand that the glaciers are all melting right now in the Alps, in the Arctic, everywhere, glaciers are melting at an increasingly fast pace. And it's happening right now. So there's no like, oh, in the future, in a couple of decades, it could be really bad. No, they're actually melting right now. So those couple of decades in the future are actually this decade. We are less than three, but they're saying we are less than 3 decades away from losing. I'm saying we're less than a decade away. We're less than that because it's happening right now. All the glaciers in Yosemite National Park, Italy's Dolomite Mountains, the continent of Africa, and thousands of other individual ice giants are set to disappear over the next 30 years, according to a new report from the United Nations. And at this point in climate change, the UN says that we're powerless to stop that loss. So apparently, I mean, at least they got part of this right. At least they got part of this right. We're powerless to stop that loss. It's not going to not happen, right? This is going, it's already happening. It's happening now. It's going to happen, and we're not going to stop it from happening. That's important to understand. At this point in climate change, the UN says, read that under each and every climate projection model that the researchers assessed, a full 1/3 of glaciers located within UNESCO World Heritage Sites melt away. I don't know. They're making me read the same things over and over. 18,600 different glaciers are located across World Heritage Sites, representing about 10% of Earth's total glacier covered area. According to the new report, this includes the world's highest glaciers near Mount Everest, the longest glacier in Alaska, and the last glaciers in Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, and the DRC. More than 90% of our planet's glaciarized land is in Antarctica, where there are no UNESCO sites, and so the area included in the UN analysis encompasses nearly all of the glaciers outside of polar ice sheet regions and mountainous areas. If we continue on business as usual, then half of these UNESCO sites will be glacier-free by 2100. Again, that is extremely conservative. You could probably have that timeline, and you could probably double the damage. Satellite data already shows the World Heritage glaciers are losing about 58 billion metric tons of ice every year on average. Well, as it gets warmer, they will melt faster, don't you think? This is not linear. That volume is equivalent to the total amount of water used annually in France and Spain combined, says the report. Nearly 5% of the observed current sea level rise is attributable to the ice loss from those same glaciers. More melt, higher oceans. Plus, glacier loss has the power to drastically reshape ecosystems in human societies worldwide, like those in and around the Himalayas. Glaciers are central to water storage and regulation in many regions. Without the seasonal flux of glacial melt and refreezing to rely on, some places could be left in perennial drought and others flooded out. For scale, nearly 2 billion people worldwide rely on water from glacier or snowpack melt for their drinking water, not to mention agriculture and hydropower needs. Fucks. When glaciers melt rapidly, I'm having issues today. When glaciers melt rapidly, millions of people face water scarcity and the increased risk of natural disasters such as flooding, and millions more may be displaced by the resulting rise in sea levels. Give me one sec, guys. All right. Let's go back. Okay. Anyways, they're all melting. Max Sarjay says Mount Shasta is the headwaters for the Sacramento River. Without it, they might not have to put in a dam. Yeah. And Mount Shasta is going to be gone. It's almost gone, right? The snowpack, the glacier, Mount Shasta. It's looking pretty dry up there. Yeah, and we see where this is going. All right. Let's move on to something else, some other things. Oh, here's another one from Poppy. Very concerning. Thanks, Poppy, for sending these or tweeting these. We'll set it up a little bit. About 60% of the more than 2 million trees planted in the past 20 years from seeds collected on the Pueblo have died, and some areas, especially unshaded south-facing slopes, may never again support trees in a hotter, drier world. The trees are going away. That's for sure. They're going away, and, I can see them going away. I'm not imagining this. This isn't about models. This is actually happening. If you live in a place, several people, I know that there are several places where the tree loss is something you can witness, and you can witness it over time. And I've been witnessing the tree loss in my own city over time. It's remarkable and devastating. Anyways, a Native American tribe in New Mexico is turning to the old ways to fight off wildfires, flooding, and mega drought. I don't know if this looks quite long, so I don't know if I'm going to read the whole thing, but with unsettling speed, climate change has taken a toll on the Pueblo's 89 square miles that climb from the gently rolling Rio Grande Valley to Santa Clara Canyon in the rugged Jemez Mountains of northern Mexico, or Jemez. Hotter temperatures and drier conditions exacerbated by global warming have made their forests a tinderbox, shrunk waterways, and parched pastures and gardens, threatening a way of life tied to the land, water, and animals that pray for daily and celebrate through stories, songs, and dances passed down through the ages. Three large wildfires in 13 years burned more than 80% of the tribe's forested land. 80%. The last one, the 2011 Las Conchas fire, then the largest in New Mexico history, burned so hot it hardened the ground like concrete. In a cruel twist 2 months later, it took just a quarter inch of rain to unleash the first of several devastating flash floods. Scouring charred slopes and sending tree trunks, boulders, and vast quantities of sediment surging through the Pueblo, it buried sections of a Santa Clara Canyon road 50 feet deep, blew out earthen dams and drained ponds where the tribe planned to reintroduce native trout, decimated habitat for beavers, bears, elk, mule deers, and eagles. Anyways, we're in the middle of a mega drought, if anybody is not up to speed on that. And the evidence of that is visible to the naked eye. And it's visible, you would understand that, you would probably recognize that if you weren't a person that lived in a air-conditioned box and got in your air-conditioned box and then traveled to another air-conditioned box where you work and then did the same thing again, later that evening. But if you're somebody who lives off the land or, in tune with your environment, more closely in tune with your environment, you would notice these changes going on. DB Cooper says, Kevin, get a Generac generator. Generac. The all-American generator. Okay. I think I saw... Oh, you got the diesel version of Generac. Okay. They give you a $300 tax credit after a $10,000 install. Yeah, those things are like really expensive, right? Oops, can't get diesel, right? I mean, I thought, I thought about that as my power went out a few times this week. They now make generators that run on batteries. This is true. I thought about that as my power went out a few times this weekend, and I also thought, golly, should be awesome to have a solar panel charging up a battery right now. Would be awesome. I don't know yet. I don't know if I'm going to get to that point yet. I want to, though. I have designs on at least having a couple of solar panels. I actually don't use a lot of electricity. It's funny because a few people in California, they have some new push to get everybody onto solar panels and or um, they're pushing, clean energy. So they have people just kind of walking around neighborhoods, going door to door, hey, have you heard about the clean energy, blah, blah, boop? Or you can get solar panels for blah, blah, bloop. Or you can get solar panels installed for free. And it'll save you a whole bunch of money on your electricity bill. Well, they always ask me, well, how much is your electricity bill? And then I tell them, and they're like, oh, that's really low. Well, and then they're like, well, it won't save you much money because your electricity bill. So I already know that I use less electricity than most people. But if I had a couple of solar panels and maybe they were set up to some kind of battery, I might actually be able to use even less energy. That would be kind of cool. I'm a for that. Again, though, I'm trying to be thoughtful about the idea of getting solar panels and not just go out and go, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to run everything on solar panels. I'm going to buy this big old solar panel array and blah, and all the batteries. That's kind of not really how I do things anyways. Probably just get a couple of solar panels, put them on the roof of this here studio right here that I'm on, because this thing is a sun catcher. The studio that I'm in is just wide open to the sun all day long, and that's why it gets quite warm in here in the summer. But actually, during the winter, it's kind of nice because I get a lot of natural heating. So it's like it could be kind of chilly outside, but inside the studio, it's nice and toasty because the sun just like heats up the studio really nicely. Max Sarjay says, I have an inner tie system. I have no idea what that even means. In my rental in Eureka, it makes more energy than it uses in a cloudy town. Okay. I'd like to know what an inner tie system is. I have no idea. All right, we have a caller. What's up, Kevin? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right.
I was calling for two reasons. One is to let you know that your power is back on.
Yes, thank you.
I actually have 14 solar panels on my house.
Okay.
And my electric bill has been zero for many months. I've had the panels for about almost 3 years, and my electric bill is above zero for like January and February.
Yeah.
We have the, I forget what they call it, where I sell the extra electricity I'm generating to the electric company.
Yeah.
At retail price, so that's, and then if there's an extra balance, then the electric company cuts me a check in March or April.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of cool. I kind of, and that sounds, I don't know, something about that sounds so very logical, right? If a bunch of people have solar panels on their house and they're all producing electricity, and then the excess electricity is getting sent back into the grid or back to the power company, and they're, like, doesn't that seem like a somewhat saner world? Right? I don't know.
It makes sense for me. I'm kind of like you. My electricity, the amount of electricity that I use is very, very minimal. Like, I don't turn the circuit breakers are all off unless I need something. I turn the water heater on for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Before I take a shower.
Right.
But there's a catch, though. The catch is, I don't remember what the cap is, but after there's a certain cap of people in Maryland generating electricity with solar panels, I don't know what the precise language is, but the electric company won't have to buy back electricity from customers at retail price. There's some switch over to, so they're not, if everybody had solar panels in Maryland, then they would just go bankrupt. So they have a,
because they'd be paying out, right?
yeah, they have some kind of protection clause in there, and
Well,
I'll have to
but
look it
that
up
I mean
again.
that doesn't seem so crazy either, right? Like,
No, it doesn't. So, in a position where I'm good now, but should I go around discouraging other people from getting solar panels so I don't get?
yeah. Well,
uh,
and I would imagine if everybody in Maryland had solar panels, or right, then why would the company have to buy energy? Anyways, right? Because everybody's good. It would be very like it would reduce the load, I would think, right?
right, but I if we lose power, then I lose power because I don't have a battery. So I need them.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
I mean, well, what am I trying to say? If I'm not generating enough electricity to power everything I need, then and I'm not storing it, and I lose power, then
Yeah.
I'm kind of at the mercy of them getting it back line. But it also would make more sense at that point for the state to own the electric
Oh, yeah.
utility.
Yeah, yeah. Or what if the electric company was just like maybe what if the electric company was just a battery and a switchboard where, you just people, you have this like constant feed of like excess electricity going to the battery, right? And then they're just switching it to people that need it, you know. Like let's say
Yeah,
somebody has their system goes down or whatever, then there's just this kind of like constant backup of electricity for however long the battery can store it, I guess.
right. But I mean, ultimately, I want to get off grid, and Basil. I know Basil has built his own batteries or put his own batteries together, so he's off grid.
Cool. Yeah.
Um, so at some point, I want to do that just so I'm not so reliant on the electric company,
Basil has built his own batteries?
or put his own together.
Oh, okay.
Basically, yeah. I don't recall exactly how he phrased it.
I mean,
But
you can. I think it sounds interesting as hell though. I mean, yeah, I was inspired. I saw a video maybe last year of somebody who'd rigged like in a cabin, rigged a couple of solar panels or maybe one solar panel, and they had like a car battery. Um, and what else did they had? Some kind like an inverter. I don't remember the setup exactly, but it was very simple and very straightforward, and it was like enough electricity to run a computer or run a few lights or whatever, or charge your phone. I was like, oh, that's cool. That was inspiring. Like
they
super
do
super
sell,
simple setup. It's like $500 or something like that.
right, and they do sell like single panel kits just to heat your water, like for your water heater.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I already have an electric water heater, so or a not an electric, but a on demand water heater. So
I
I don't know if that would
I
I don't know if that would work for that, would it?
I no idea.
I mean, I would think you need like a battery, some battery power for that or whatever. But still, yeah, that's kind of like what I'm planning to do. I think is just maybe get a few panels and try to hook it up in a way so that I can like, just run because I don't really run that many. I just don't run that many. I don't have any appliances beyond like a washer and dryer. So those are like, or a refrigerator, but like I don't have like a dishwasher. I don't have, I don't run like a ton of appliances. I'm kind of trying to like take all my appliances out except for the very, very necessary ones. But yeah, like if I could just have enough electricity to just run, a few things, then it'd be even cooler. Yeah, man. Well, that's interesting. Thanks for. So, with the 14 solar panels, was that like a big outlay?
It was between 17 and 18K, but at the time that I bought them, there was a 30% tax credit from the federal government,
Okay.
which brought it down to 11 something, and then I got $1,000 check from the state of Maryland for that.
Yeah.
So, and I paid it off as quickly as I could. I took a small loan out for it, and then paid it off as quick as I could. But to pay off, I did some quick napkin math, and I figured it would take me between 7 and 8 years to get my money back. So
Yeah.
about halfway there, almost.
Oh, I mean, that makes a whole lot of sense. So. And that's not bad at all, right? So you got them for like almost like half price or 60% of the, right? After the rebate and everything.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's cool. Very cool. Well, yeah, man. Thanks for the call. That was very insightful.
Sure. Have a good rest of the afternoon. I'll hang up.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go think about solar panels more now that my power went out twice this week. All right, thanks, Kevin.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, okay. Just inspiring me to do things that I'm constantly feel bad about not. I have like 18,000 projects. I just have a never-ending list of like things that I'm trying to accomplish or do. And then I'm always looking at the list going, damn, when am I going to get to that? I don't know. Because there's the tyranny of the immediate. If anybody has heard that phrase, the tyranny of the immediate. You're always kind of stuck running around trying to do the things that are super important instead of the more like fruitful long-term projects. But I have a hard time because I have kind of a short attention span and I get bored really easily. And so that's a problem. All right, let's listen to this from Jay Rockstrom, Dr. Rockstrom, on the climate crisis. This is about a 3-minute clip. And before I play this, I'm going to check the coffees. Sip some coffee, check the coffees. We don't have any coffees as of yet today, and we don't have any Rockfin tips as of yet today. Those are really good ways to support the channel. buymeacoffee.com/blackbearnews or Rockfin, ROKFIN.com at Black Bear News. And Schulte100 says, I stocked up on candles last night on the way home. Last power outage I had was 5 days. Good. Yeah. Good grief indeed. One candle. That's bad. Yeah. I guess that's, I've been quite lucky that my power experiences this week were like an hour long, or maybe today's was about 2 hours. But, after 10, 12, 24 hours things start to get a little bit weird. And then, I can't even imagine 5 days. I'd have to go, I don't know. I don't have anybody I could go move in with for 5 days. I'll figure it out, I guess. I guess that would be the point at which I would start, scouring the planet for solar panels, I guess. That would be a good motivator. All right. Where are we? We are listening to this from Dr. Rockstrom. All right. Hopefully.
But let me zoom into something that is not so well understood yet, which is that Europe is a planetary ground zero on climate impacts. That Europe is now warming faster than any other place on planet Earth. Twice as fast. Actually, we've reached already 2 degrees Celsius in Germany already today. We are at 1.2 degrees Celsius of global mean surface temperature rise at the planetary scale, the warmest temperature on Earth since we left the last ice age 12,000 years ago, before we started to develop civilizations and everything that we determine as a modern world of today. We have an Arctic just very close to us, which is warming 3 times faster. The Arctic scientifically is now proven to impact on the polar jet stream. The polar jet stream in turn regulates heat waves, droughts, floods, forest fires in Europe. So we see an amplification. The planet is warming, it impacts on the Arctic hits back with even more reinforced extreme weather events that hits directly on Gesundheit. Just fossil fuel burning is prematurely causing the death of over 100,000 Europeans because of air pollution from the fossil fuel burned driven combustion engines. But if you add to that the 5, 6, 7,000 people dying prematurely of heat, and you put these numbers together, it's almost 25% of the total excess mortality in Europe, even during the pandemic. We have more and more evidence how climate change causes droughts and heat waves, which leads to water scarcity. Water scarcity in turn causes food insecurity. Food insecurity in turn undermines livelihoods for hundreds of millions of people across the world. For example, right as we speak in the Horn of Africa, with 4 consecutive rainy seasons that have completely failed, largely because of human-caused climate change, which then causes social instability, which pushes people out of their stable livelihoods, causing health impacts from cholera outbreaks to mental stress, and of course displacement, migration, and potentially conflicts. So we have secondary effect on Gesundheit, which goes well beyond just the immediate impacts. Well, I don't see the necessary action in any economy in the world right now. We need to reduce emissions annually by 5 to 7% per year. We are increasing emissions by 1 to 2% per year. The German economy has bent the curve and is reducing net emissions, but not at all at the pace required. So the answer is no, Germany is not doing enough, but so are not the other European countries. And that's why I argue so strongly that Germany, as the largest economy in the European Union, must continue showing leadership in Brussels, in the Bundesregierung here in Berlin, to continue moving very actively and then try to align as close as possible with the scientific necessity.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's just laying out the oh so exciting and fun effects of climate change. As far as the last part he's talking about, the political answer to it, I'm not sure. He didn't really outline anything about that, and I'm not sure what he meant by that, and I'm not sure if I would agree with whatever he's outlining, but that will have to be maybe something for another day. All right, guys. Well, that about does it for me. Thanks for hanging out with me. I know the timing was a little bit weird today, but y'all showed up anyways to hang out and watch the show, and I appreciate that. And I will be back, fingers crossed tomorrow that there's no more shenanigans from the electric company. So tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, I will see you all at the regular time. And thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. And until next time, peace.